Hi everyone, Emma here. I'm so excited to show you how to make this bracelet. So this is like my third time starting this video, and I just kept running into problems. So hopefully we can get this in there because it's so exciting. It turned out really amazing. It was just a weird idea I had, and you can tell me if you've seen this before. Let me know where you saw it. I'd love to see, if maybe it was something I saw and just forgot about. But the idea came from these bracelets here that I started with the BB Craft collaboration. So the bracelet does 4 Tilas a side, and then you do the next set. So you get this kind of lovely merging of the different color beads, and it's really cool, the movement. Very neat and slinky on your arm and stuff like that. So I thought, oh, why couldn't I? And this was the sample that we did in the video. And I thought, why can't I do it this way? I should be able to make a bracelet this way. So that's how I came up with this idea. And I put one of these are pretty easy to attach. You just go through different beads wherever the posts are to get your thread around, and then come back through and do it a few times, do it on both sides. What I did do for this though is rather than end with a full loop, I had half a loop, and I'll explain that when we get going. So in the other videos, I was gonna do this. I did a nice and pink and shiny gold, which is like my favorite go-to. And then my other go-to is more of a matte color. So the lovely matte blue Tilas and the matte navy blue seed beads. But a few things, and I changed my thread. And I changed the thread because on this one I used a size 5 dragon thread, and it was so they weren't connected properly, in like they got loose and stuff like that. So I ended up going back through every one of them again on both sides. Not a big deal. It's like maybe takes 20 minutes or so to do it. But so it really, created some tension, although I can see little gaps here and there. But anyway, so I thought, well, why don't I use a thicker thread? And I did for this one here, but I found that it was too rigid. So you don't get the movement that you want from it, and you can see the threads. In these, you can't see the thread at all. Like, I used the green thread on this, and you could barely. I mean, there were some spots where I went through a few times, you could see it. I would have probably, if I'd have thought it through, I would have used like a white thread on this one. So let's get started. We are going to try it this time. Bear with me. So you're going to need, for this bracelet here, I have just under a size 6 wrist, so 5 3/4. Don't forget to subtract for your clasp. This one is long, the clasp, so you have to subtract that from the added, but you also should add about 1/2 inch to give it some space on your wrist. You don't want it super tight. So to do this one, it took 54 Tilas to do that. So you're going to want to add, mine's 6. There's my ruler here. Let's calculate how many Tilas is in an inch. So there's an inch. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Tilas. So add 5 Tilas to each side, which is an equivalent of 10 for every inch bigger. So this would be, say, a size 6. I would, for a size 7, add 5 on that side, 5 on that side. So another 10. And if you're doing like a 7.5, I would go for instead of 5, do 8 on each side. So that's 16 extra Tilas. And the reason I say that is because if you've ordered your Tilas in a tube, you may need 2 tubes. I ordered mine bulk, so I have a bunch, and I have given away a lot. So you can imagine how many I had I went nuts. And this is like, these are 4 years old. I may be doing some more giveaways with those guys. So we're going to do the off-white here. Let's enlarge this. So you need your scissors, your thread, your needle. I'm using a size 10 needle. You don't need a smaller needle. Everything goes through really easily. So yeah, I'm using, these are Tohos. I would definitely recommend you use a round bead so that it moves nicely and so that the picot presents itself nicely. If you use, like, Tohos are a little more tubular, although these look a bit rounded, so these should work fine. We'll take a look and see how that manages, but definitely a round would suit better. So these are Toho 11, I didn't know what that word is, opaque light beige. So we're going to start out with our Tila. Now with Tilas you have a, let me enlarge this here, and I'm going to bring it down a bit. So with Tilas you have a rounded side and a flat side. It's not very pronounced. You don't have to stress about it if you don't want to. I'm going to go ahead and keep my rounded section up, facing up. So you're going to go through, just make sure you have a little bit at the end. You can put a stop bead in there and just continue on and then weave your tail into your bracelet, but I like to tie a knot in mine. So I'm going to pick up 3 11/0s. I'm going to go into the open hole, and that will be my picot. Then I'm going to pick up 3 more 11/0s, and I'm going to move those down to the bottom, and this is where we're going to tie our knot. So you can see the both ends. And that's, I'm going to pull that down a bit. I don't need that much. Okay. I know I don't leave myself enough to tie a knot, so we're going to tie our knot in here. I'm cheap. I don't want to cut my threads. That's so bad. I used to, any thread I had left over, I used to save and put it in a little tray and reuse it, but I learned that it's probably not necessary. Get this thread around that bead here. Let me get this out. This part here is a little fiddly to begin with, and I think that's probably why people use stop beads and then weave their stuff in, but I hate having a tail in my way. Inevitably it gets sewn into the bracelet and you're like, where'd this random thread come from? Okay, so just watch it doesn't loop over those beads like it's doing. And then pull the tail down. Get this like that. So let's put another knot in there. I think, you know, it's 2 weeks after my surgery. I'm still recovering. I think the issues I'm having with doing the video is I'm still tired and it's impeding my ability to bead. It's a major issue because that's not nice. That's not friendship. One more just to be sure it's in there. Okay. And this thread is so slippery. It's hard to grab a hold of. So, there. That should not take that long, but there it is. Not much I can do about it. I am going to go back through the Tila to hide that tail and knot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through it a second time just to be sure that the knot's not going to come undone. There we go. So let's go through everything. There. Let's get it nice there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top middle bead here, and we're going to add our beads that are going to create the middle piece. So to do that, that's this area here. We always go through the middle bead of the picot. We're going to add 10 on one side, 10 on the other. But because we don't have our row set up here yet, we're going to add an 11th bead or 21 bead in the middle, and that will be the middle piece of the picot from the top. So I hope that makes sense. It will make sense when, as we're working it, you'll see what I'm talking about. 8, 9, 10, 11. And I always double check my count. There's 5, 5, and 1. And then we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're going to pick up our Tila. So we're coming out of the one side, and I think we can enlarge this. Coming out of the one side. Make sure that's in focus. There we go. Go through the other side. So that's what it's going to look like. Okay, so now we're coming out of your middle bead here. We're going to go down and we're going to get set up so we can add another Tila. So we're going to go through the 11-0, the Tila, the 11-0 on the other side, and you can still get this snug. And then go through these two 11-0s, and you can go through the Tila as well, but just the Tila. Okay, so it went through that 11. Don't worry, it does that a lot. We're going to go backwards out of that 11. It's just because if you've done it right, they are snug against the Tila, so they are hard to bypass. So let's go back out of that 11. And the reason I'm doing that is I want my thread to go across to the next Tila. I don't want it showing on my bracelet. Once those beads are in place, it'll hide that thread. So pick up your next. So this is the top part. I believe that is the top part of this one. Yeah, it's really hard to see. So let's, yep. So bring your thread through like that. So you see how we're joining it. We're going to go through the Tila, the previous Tila, like that, and it will bring it into place. We're going to go through the new Tila one more time. And now we're going to add our picot. So pick up 3 11-0s, sorry, 3 11-0s, go through like that. We're going to pick up 3 more 11-0s. We're going to go down this side. So we now have our picot there. We're going to go through this again. Let's go through these 11-0s. up through your Tila. Going to go through that 1 11-0. Pull it snug. Then we're going to go through this middle one. Now we're going to get ready to add our circle. That. So we're going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 1. That. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have 21 on our thread. Now at this point you can go over, you can go over and through the loop, or you can go under and through the loop. And I'll tell you, whichever way you do it, just make sure you continue doing that for the whole thing. And surprisingly enough, I was paying attention, and on mine, I'll show you what happened. I did it twice. I was surprised after the first time I did it. So this is the pick. Where is it? Oh, this one here. You can see it went over this one here, and it went over this one here, when it should have gone under this one. And then of course all of these are wrong. And then I got switched around again. So, but you know what? You can't really tell, but yeah, that happens. So now coming in, so let's go through. I'm going to go under like this. So always follow that same pattern. Go back to your middle picot. Go through that one like that. Bring it snug. That looks a lot bigger. Did we not count this right? Were you guys not counting? Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10. So it's correct. I guess it's just the way it's sitting. Sometimes they're like poofy, round, so then it looks bigger, especially since this pieces are round. So let's go through this bead that goes down into the Tila, go through the Tila as well as the bottom bead, and that secures it like that. We're going to go through these two 11-0s. Go up through your Tila and only your Tila. Don't go through your seed bead, because now we're going to add our next Tila. That. Pick up the Tila. Go through the Tila. Go through the next Tila beside it. And pull that in. Like that. We're going to go through the Tila again and add our picot to the bottom. Let's snug that up there. Pick up 3 for the picot. That. Go up through the Tila. We're going to pick up 3 11-0s. Go down through the second hole in that Tila. Pull through. Now we're going to go through those 11 O's because we want to make our way through to the second hole in the Tila. Go up through the Tila, through the 11 O, and we're going to go through the middle 11 O and add our next circle. That. Okay, so let's count 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I do find that this design, you think there's a lot of counting. It's very forgiving. I found that I would double check all the time my count, and actually I was fine every time, so I stopped doing the second count on it. So I suspect I probably did make mistakes, and you don't notice it. Okay, so I have 10 there and 10 there and the one extra. Don't forget that one extra. That's the key to this design. So now we went this one here, we went under the previous loop. So you got to remember, you want to go under the previous loop. Like that. And you're coming out of this middle bead, you want to go to the other side of it. Like that. And there is our second hole. Go through that 11O, the Tila, and the next 11O. There. That. Continue through these 11Os. Through your Tila and just the Tila, because now we're going to add the final Tila. We're going to do 4 here, 4 in a row, and then we'll add, I'll show you how to add the second part to this. So pick up your Tila, go through the bottom. So you're coming out of the top, you go through the bottom with your Tila on your thread. There we go. Nice and tight. Go down through the Tila again. We're going to add the picot at the bottom. And you can change up the colors too. So you can do the picots all one color bead, in the middle a different color. I've seen that done. It looks amazing. I forgot I was going to try it on this one to show you guys, because it's pretty cool what it does, the effect. Okay, so now we need all our beads. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we're going to do 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we went, if you look at this one, we went under the first one, then under the second one, and over. Oh, you know what? We're too early. We're supposed to put our picot. So let's take these off. I get so excited. I'm like, let me do the next step. Okay, I'm just going to put these aside because we won't have to count them. We'll just grab those. So we need 3. I was like, where's my beads to put my... Pick up 3 for your picot, go back down and go through everything again. Go through these guys. That loop is sliding forward here. There we go. Okay, so go through your middle picot, then add your 21 beads. If I didn't say it before, 21. So you need 10 on each side, plus the one for the middle that's going to attach to the top picot. There. So I was watching a video by Jill Wiseman where I think it said it was 5 days ago, but I thought I only saw it yesterday. Okay, so we're coming out of this middle bead on the top of the picot. We're going to go under the previous loop, bring our beads through, and go through this side of that same bead. And then we're going to reinforce it by going through everything like that. So now I'm going to show you how to get to the top to add the other piece. So if you're at this point, say you have your whole length of your bracelet, now you want to add the Tilas at the top. You're going to go through these guys here. That. You're going to go up through the Tila. I'm going to go through this one. It doesn't really matter. Just that one there. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to follow the thread path. So you're going to go through this middle one. But instead of continuing this way, we're going to go up to this middle bead. And we're going to add. So we're going to go up. So let's do it in 2 steps because I want this to be clear what we're doing. So now what we're doing is we're adding the top Tilas and we need to find that middle one. So have 10 on each side. So you can count it now. I bet you any money it's that one just by looking where it's sitting. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I was correct. It's that one. So let's go through these guys like that. Like that. And we want to make our way in through that middle bead. So it's the third one here. This one here. And you can recount it if you're not sure. You want to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's the 11th bead. That's where you want to be. So we want to complete the picot to the Tila. So we have 1 on each side of that bead. So pick up 1 11-0 and your Tila and bring it into place. Bring it down like this. It's going to sit like that. We are going to put our picot on the top here. 1, 2, 3. We're going to go through the open hole. You're crossing over. Pull that in like that. Then we're going to pick up 1 more to complete our Tila. Okay, I'm just going to flip this a little. You're going to go through that middle one like that. And so there's our top. We're going to go through that second 11-0 that completes that Tila or that picot. Go through the Tila, through the 11-0. We're going to go back and we're going to come down here and we're going to add another Tila next to it. So let's go through here. We're going to go through the Tila. Okay, so down through the Tila and just the Tila. Don't go through your bottom seed bead there. We're going to pull everything tight like that. Now we're going to add our next Tila right here. We're coming out of this bottom part of that Tila. We're going to go through the top. Like that. Like that. And it's going to set it up nicely right beside it. Like that. So the thread is actually right next to it. So now we're going to go back up the new Tila that we added, and we're going to add our picot. These are kind of like hard to hang on to until you get a little more length. So you've got your 3 11/0s for your picot. Go down through this hole like that. So you see your thread is coming through the left side of the Tila. So you want to be on the left side of your 11/0 bead, your 11 bead or middle bead. We need to add an 11/0 like we did here. And we got to find our 11. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That doesn't seem right. Let me see here. It gets a little hard to count when there's like the beads in front of it kind of thing. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's probably right. 10, 11. So we want to go into the left of that 11th bead. I hate to do this to you guys. I want to count it again. It just doesn't seem right, but it looks like it now. Like I said, it's very forgiving, so it's not a big deal. Okay, now we're going to add our final bead to that picot. Go through your Tila, bring that in. Okay, I'm just going to pop this up a bit. I like them sticking up like a little triangle. Go through these guys again. Go down through your Tila and just your Tila. Don't go through your 11/0 at the bottom. And this will all tighten at the end, so don't worry if it doesn't seem like it's tight. At this point, you do have to tighten it. Okay, so let's add our next Tila. Coming out of this end, we're going to go through the top, just through the Tilas. Like that. And pull that and in there. Pull it tight. There. Okay. So we're coming out of this Tila. We're going to go back into this one and add the picot. One, two, three. Go through the second hole. Now we have to pick up one 11/0, find our middle bead here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And remember, you're coming from the left because you're coming out of the left-hand hole. So that part's important. You can always flip it the other way if it's confusing to you. And pick up another 11/0. Go through the Tila and through the top picot. Like that. There, pull it snug. Now we're going to add our last Tila. So we're going to go down through the Tila, just the Tila, pull everything snug. We're going to pick up our Tila. So these Tilas are cream lustre as well. I don't know the exact name. I bought these 4 years ago when I first started beading. It was really amazing. One of my subscribers mentioned that she lived close to the warehouse where they sell a lot of this bulk stuff, and she had a what is it, like a commercial permit for buying stuff. It's called something else, business permit or something. And she offered to let me order stuff and she'd ship it to me and everything. It was amazing. And this was one of the things I was like, oh, let me get some Tilas. Okay, so our last picot here on top. And then we're just going to pick up the one because we need our middle bead on this last row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And remember to come from the left. See, if I was doing this off camera, I would flip it around. But I want to make sure I show you what I'm doing. Pick up your final 11/0 for that picot. Go through the Tila and through. This is looking really amazing. Look how beautiful that is. That is awesome. So I would just totally continue with the rest of this all the way along. So let me show you. I will add one more Tila on either end to show you how I did my clasp. So you're going to go through as if you're adding another. So here's the other thing, just because we don't have one down there, it doesn't matter. So let's go through these guys. Actually, we're going to come back out of that 11. We're going to add our Tila first. Make sure that's all nice and snug. So I must have been thinking that I have 2 extra Tilas here. So grab your Tila, go through the top like that, and get in there, go back up. So I already flipped it around, I apologize. There we go. Okay, add your picot. 1, 2, 3. We're going to add try and keep it in the same orientation. Okay, so we're going to add another picot here. 1, 2, 3. We don't have a circle yet, so we don't have to worry about the middle bead right now. We're going to go up with those 3 11/0s, and we're going to go through the picot at the top. Through all of them. Then we're going to go down through the Tila. Okay, we want to be through the middle like this. Okay, now this part's a little bit wonky because we didn't set this up this way, but we want to take a look at this thread is coming out of the right side. So take a look at your previous one, and from the right it actually goes under the previous loop and then over. The reason that's important, No, you know what? I think we need to add our Tila on the other side. Actually, we can add it this way. It's a little bit confusing. So we need 10 beads is what I was getting at, which when we get to the 10, I'm going to explain we're going to need more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we have our 10 beads. We're only adding half of, let me show you, half of a loop here. There's only half a loop on the final Tilas because we want our clasp to sit inside the bracelet, not sticking at the very end of it. So you see it on both sides. Okay, so we only need the one side. So let's take a look. So if we look at our previous one, we're coming out of the right of the middle of the picot, and we go under the previous loop. This is the previous loop of that one. So let's take our thread under. This is just for uniformity. So, okay. So now we need our next Tila right here. So actually we can add that by adding 2 here, add our Tila. So that's what I was saying, it's a bit confusing. So let me just show you what I've done. Okay, so we've added 2. So this is 2, it's part of the picot. So now let's add the bottom picot. See if we can get this on. Keep its position so it makes sense. Like that. Okay, we're gonna add our, we don't have to add it now. You know what? Let's wait. So now let's take our thread. It's coming out of this Tila. We're going to do a circle around to attach it. So go through the previous Tila. I'm going to have to pick this up. Just so you can see where I'm at here. So bring that like that. So we're coming out of the bottom of the previous Tila. Let's go through the top. And pull that tight. There, so it's snug in. I'm going to go one more time around, and then we're going to add all our, we're missing one bead here. Okay, so go through the previous Tila. That. And just watch your thread doesn't hook on your beads like this. There. There, nice and snug. Go through this one here. And if you have thread left over, so let's go like this. You can use this for your clasp. I would recommend maybe starting a new strand for your clasp, but can be done. So there is what you have on the end to finish it off. That's if you want. Let's get a clasp here. Let me see what we have. Trying to find a silver one. Oh, here's one. So, yeah, this is like the one I have. There. So you can attach it there. So I would just take my thread through these beads. We can actually do it now if you guys want to see. Do you guys want to see? I don't hear you. Okay, I'm just going to bring my thread around up through here. I can tell I'm getting tired and like I having a hard time seeing things. Okay, so let's go through this one here. Let's go through 2 of these beads. I just know from doing it before where I need to come through, but for you, you're gonna want to place your, let me fix this for a sec. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. You want to place your clasp next to your beadwork and decide where you want to add it. So we want to add it to this middle piece so that it looks like it's part of the bracelet like this. All right. So if you just gently pick it up, you can see there's a bar here. There's another bar here, and there's another bar on the other side. There's more bars all the way around. That's why I love these clasps. So we're going to go around this bar here, but I'm going to take a look and see where it sits. So yeah, I'm coming out of these 2 beads here just because I wanted to pass the picot bead. So you're actually past the bar, so just go through the bar and around like this. Then go through these 2 beads again. You can hook some of the lower beads from the other strand as well. I want to keep those strands loose so that they can move with the bracelet, but I am going to be hooking the other strand on the other side of this. So I'll go through twice, and you can leave it loose and pull it all tight at the end. So go through that first bar like that. So there's that one. So now your thread is coming out of the clasp. We're going to go through the beads and find the middle point, or just past the middle point. Let me just tilt this a bit here. So let me go through a few beads. Let's go down 3 here. Okay, like that. So I think I'm going to go bring this guy forward. So this part here is kind of up to you where you want to pull things through. So let me go through. If you see where your thread is, now my thread just happens, it's light so it's hard to see. My thread is coming out of this bead here. I want to be somewhere in here, but I also want to be through these beads too. So what you can do is connect the very next bead in line with it. So there's kind of 3 right here that I'd like to go through. Let's go through this. Oh, this is, let me turn it a bit. Okay, coming out of this one, I want to go through that and the next 3 here. This looks a lot harder than it is. It's just doing it on camera. I can't move things around in my hands too much because it gets confusing for you guys. So there, now you can see it's kind of, I'm on the right side of the middle bar, so I'm going to go through the middle bar like this. And then find the next bead in line, so maybe this one. And the one directly below, and then go through a few to get to the other side. like that. It's worth the fiddly part of it because once it's on there, it looks like it was made for that bracelet. Like, it blows me away how amazing that is. So if we look, our bars right here. So we're basically set up. We can either go through the one side of the bar, so I think I will, and then that'll make it easier for us to find some beads to grab onto. Look at that. Okay, and maybe do those two. If you go through two and you think, no, I need to go through a few more, it's not a big deal because on your second time around, you can grab that bead. So I'll show you what I mean. So go through the bar. So you can see there's a gap right here and there isn't on this side. So your thread's coming out of there. Just grab hold of those beads like this. Then I'll leave the first one, but I'll go through the two on the side. Like that. Through those two, and then through the two that I initially went through. And it'll look like they're all part of one thing. Like that. Look at that. So that's loose. Let me go through these guys again, and then we'll tie it off. I guess I'm definitely doing this bracelet. I've already got the clasp on. So let's go through. I'm going to go, let's go through these three this time. See if that, yeah, that tightened it up a lot nicer. There, and it still moves. That's awesome. Okay, so let me see where we're at here. I'm going to pull that as tight as I can get it. And where's my thread? So let's go through. Well, I'm going to go through here. See if that. There, perfect. And I'm just going to make my way so I can hide my thread in there. That's not where I wanted it. Let's go through here. And through these guys. We're just going to have enough thread to, I'm going to go through the 11/0 through the Tila, pull it tight so it's nice and tight again. This is where I'm going to put my first knot. So I'll just loop it around and put my finger on it and pull that through nice and tight. Go through your Tila to hide your knot in the Tila like that. There, I felt it click in. Okay, I'm going to put another knot on this side and I'm going to tug it and it'll close that gap too. So let's do 1 and 2, push it through and go through the Tila like that. Pull it tight and we're ready to cut this off like that. There you go. This would make a lovely wedding bracelet. There we go. So I hope that wasn't too confusing. I apologize. It's, you know, doing these, I mentioned in the other 3 videos that I made for this video is I make a bracelet, like, and then within hours I'm doing the video, and it's usually a original. So sometimes I'm still working through the kinks, so I apologize for that, but at least, you know, you get some really cool new designs that, you know, you can add to, make some changes to. So I think I was mentioning about Jill Wiseman. She just released one of her bracelet designs that she sells, and she released it to us. And the awesome thing is, I already have a design for it that's gonna look incredible. Somebody mentioned, let me see, I have it right here. Let me. So definitely, I will post the link to Jill's video because it's definitely a video you should do if you haven't already. Because apparently it's years and years old. She had a whole bunch of designs. So it starts with a square stitch. So this was the square stitch I did with this lovely bead, size 6 or size 8 bead. And then you take and every alternate bead, you attach seed beads with another bigger bead. So like a 6 millimeter pearl, stuff like that. And then you alternate when you do that in each row. And then by the time you're finished, you have like this mound of pearls and stuff like that. But guess what I'm doing it with? Oh, these candy beads and these seed beads. And I'm actually going to try to add some bugles, some white bugles with a drop at the end, a white drop to represent water, so it looks like a bowl of cereal. It's gonna look amazing. So yeah, go take a look at her stuff. But it just shows you, like, get inspiration from these things. Like, my videos are more process video than they are, polished tutorials. And if that's what you're into, hey, great. I really appreciate people hanging out with me. It's a lot of fun. So take care, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.